15 miles southeast of Pahrump, which has been transformed into a rambling grotto of icons, statues, and text panels. The canyon was built mostly by Roland Wiley, who bought the 15,800-acre Hidden Hills Ranch in 1972, on which the canyon lies. Over the next 30 years until he died in 1993 in his 90s, Roland worked on the canyon mainly on weekend trips to the site from Las Vegas, where he was a lawyer. As the legend goes, through the years, Wiley is rumored to have put over $1 million into the beautiful monument that has began as a tribute to his daughter, who passed away at an early age and helped him cope with her death. Religious in overall tone and dedicated to peace and harmony among all God's creatures, the site with many secular elements is open to the public, although originally unintended to be. Visitors say it's best viewed at night when the multicolored lighting system illuminates the individual displays, which are laid out along the main pathway and tucked into the walls and bushes in the canyon. One frame message set in large black letters against the white background reads, "I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again." There are also quotes from Albert Einstein, Abraham Lincoln, and other famous persons. Another interesting feature in the canyon is a suspension bridge that spans the width that is lighted and has piped-in music. Unfortunately, vandalism has recently taken its toll on the remote site and is almost completely gutted at this point. But if you're looking for an interesting and spooky place to visit, Cathedral Canyon is the place to be. For News 30, I'm Aaron Schultz.
today in the sentencing phase of the Cathedral Canyon murder case. 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears continues her coverage as the family seeks justice for their son.
Almost exactly 2 years ago, 27-year-old Roy Jaggers was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered by a woman he considered a friend and 2 of her associates. 2 of the accused pleaded guilty. The third was convicted after a trial in May. In exchange for taking 1 life, they all face life sentences.
I have a hole in my soul for my son. It'll never heal.
Jerry Jaggers spoke on camera for the first time to 13 Investigates in April. In court Thursday morning,
"You are a cold-blooded murderer."
The Jaggers family addressed a killer.
"You should have no hope getting out, just like Roy had no hope of living. You gave us a life sentence without Roy, and that's what you should get. You have destroyed my family and took the baby of our family from us."
Heather Pate, Kevin Dent, and Brad Main were all charged with the kidnap, torture, and murder of 27-year-old Roy Jaggers on July 31st, 2021. Nye County authorities say Pate believed Roy had molested one of her children, which police later said was unsubstantiated. The 3 lured Jaggers to Pate's Las Vegas home and beat him before handcuffing him, wrapping him in a tarp, and traveling to Nye County, where they tortured him for hours with multiple weapons. They then took him to Cathedral Canyon, where he was stripped of his clothes and forced to walk off a cliff before Main shot him to death. Main was tried and convicted of first-degree murder in May, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Pate and Dent both avoided trial by taking plea deals.
So now, my biggest fear is coming true. Now, every year to do it for parole, my family has to go up and relive this case and try to keep them in.
Dent pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced Thursday to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 10 years.
But now we're all involved for life over something that should have never happened at all. And you're a bully, dude. This is not the first time you've done this.
Dent is a convicted felon who'd been released from prison just 8 months before Roy Jaggers' murder.
Not the first time. You're a predator.
Heather Pate pled guilty to second-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping. She will likely also receive a life sentence with parole eligibility in 15 years.